So, if I asked you, where does your emotions come from? How would you respond? Take a moment and think about it. Drop it in a chat below. Did you say your thoughts? Surprise? Don't believe me? Okay, I'll prove it. Let's say you're walking down the aisle at the grocery store, maybe glancing at your phone when you feel a hard bump. Someone bumps into you really hard. How are you feeling? What's your first reaction? Most people will say anger, thinking, who is this bumping into me? And when you look up, you see someone with a walking stick. What are your thoughts now? Are you still feeling angry? Has anger changed to compassion, empathy? Most people would say when they see a visually challenged person, they know it was an accident and no longer feel the same. Their minds were changed because their thoughts were changed. There is an approach to counseling called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT for short. This approach is called evidence-based because it has been heavily researched and found to be very effective in treating people with mood disorders like anxiety and depression. However, I feel it's a useful skill for everyone to have, because at some point in our lives we experience anxiety and sadness, even if it's not enough to garner the full diagnosis. On the following pages, you will find tools that will help you process or work through big emotions or situations that's causing upset or distress. When people experience strong emotions or have large reactions to situations, it can sometimes be traced back to their thoughts, or in this situation, the unhelpful thinking habits on the following pages. As I go through these, I invite you to consider how these habits could wreak havoc on your emotional and mental health or impact relationships. All or nothing thinking. There is no gray nowhere. It's either this or that. It's either I'm eating healthy all the time or none of the time. There's no in between. Fortune telling. This is believing that you know the future. And this is typically bent towards the negative. You know that negative things will happen. Mental filter. Only the negative things get attention. So I'm only focusing on the bad things. My childhood, ignoring the good things that happened. My work day, ignoring the people that gave you compliments and just focusing on the negative things that happen. Mind reading. Believe you know what others are thinking. And again, this is typically skewed towards the negative and the bad. I experienced this when I was at the bank making a transaction. I felt embarrassed about making a transaction and projected my thoughts onto others, deepening my bad feelings. We don't know what other people are thinking, and this causes unnecessary upset, assuming that we do. I've seen this quote that says, what other people think of me is none of my business. And if they are thinking bad about you, what can you truly do about it? Is that the person's possible thoughts of bad worth your time and your energy? Overgeneralization. This is having one bad experience and putting that whole thing on anything similar. This could have been true for me. I was bit by a dog, but I did not hold the belief that all dogs are bad. And I'm so glad that I did not, or else I would have missed out on the bestest boy ever. My fur baby. Sometimes people have the thought when they had a bad romantic experience, they may say that all men are dogs, or and that's not true because you haven't dated all men. They may say people from, you can insert whatever city, whatever country, whatever place are bad, but you can't really say that because you haven't interacted with all the people from there. So I think you get the idea. Magnification or minimization. It is making the proverbial mountain out of a molehill. It's having the thought that if you miss one day of work, the whole plant will shut down, or believing that having steady employment isn't important and it'll all work out in the end. So you're minimizing the impact one thing that can have on the other. So it's either mountain out of a molehill, or you're making something really important trivial. Emotional reasoning. This is when you have an emotion and believe you are that emotion. It is believing that you are dumb because you've done something dumb, or you're feeling unattractive because maybe you couldn't get your hair right or the fit to work out right. It is believing that because you are experiencing that emotion that you are it. And so for me personally, I have many blind moments, but I am far from dumb, even if I am doing something like tripping off air, which is something I've done before. Shoulding on yourself or masturbating is placing judgment on ourselves or others. So I say those things as a play on words. We don't want to should on ourselves, and we don't want to masturbate. This is when we have great and high expectations on ourselves and or on others, and typically it ends up being that we are very impatient and judgmental. So when we have these shoulds, it is just placing a high level of judgment on ourselves or others. Labeling is a close cousin to emotional reasoning. So instead of putting a distance between you and the deed, you and what you've done, you assign that action to yourself. So instead of stating, I tripped over the chair, you will label yourself a klutz. So imagine the damage that this does to your self-esteem. You are not what you do. Compare and despair. This is currently really rampant with social media. It is when you look at someone's life experiences and then compare it to your own, resulting in despair or upset on your end. And again, imagine the damage to your self-esteem. Would depression symptoms get better if you are engaging in this?